Today, the coroner confirmed what no one wanted to be true. A missing Danville woman was found dead a county over. How her friends remember her coming up.
Wiped so many tears from my eyes.
The family of a Louisville man shot and killed in Lexington is remembering his kindness as police search for a suspect. And Donald Trump is on the defense after a new report tries to shed light on his personal finances.
This is WKYT News at 11.
Good evening and thanks for joining us here on WKYT. I'm Sean Moody. Fall finally seems to be settling in here in the Bluegrass, but while last week saw scattered showers and cool temperatures throughout the region, sunny skies are on their way back. Let's begin tonight with WKYT meteorologist Jim Caldwell and your no-wait weather forecast.
And Sean, it does look pretty good out there over the next few days. Even tonight, not bad at all. We have temperatures running in the mid-60s. Humidity at 84%, not a big deal though. Cloud cover hanging out with us here for the most part, and we've had a few showers over the past couple of hours hanging out with us too. You're not going to run into a lot of that though. 59 down the road into Mount Sterling, 61 Moorhead, and you've got little pockets of 50 showing up to our south and east as well out there tonight, and even more to our north where we have some cooler air trying to settle in for us. But overall, not a bad forecast coming our way because we're going to try to get rid of any resemblance of a chill that we have had. Little shower activity was showing up earlier. Had some of that passing right through Bourbon County, but most of that rain now calming down and clearing up. A few showers do remain. You can see those across southern Ohio. This is as close as this night. However, there might be one or two more that try to filter through the skies as we progress through the overnight. But the true focus of the forecast, it's this. Normal is back in that forecast. That means sunny and 70s. We're actually going to go above normal as well in the week ahead. I'll break it all down and track it hour by hour coming up in just a few minutes.
Jim, thank you. A missing Danville woman found dead yesterday in Lincoln County is being remembered today by those who loved her as proud and independent. Police confirmed this morning that a body found in Lincoln County is that of 22-year-old Desiree Sparks. Police in Danville had been searching for Sparks for the past week. Caitlin Sentner is tracking the investigation. That is tonight's top story.
It's tragic, and we hate that it turned out this way.
It's been a tough few days for many in Danville, and it didn't get any easier with Sunday's news.
An autopsy was performed, and the state medical examiner positively identified the female as Desiree Sparks, the missing female out of Danville.
Police had been searching for Desiree Sparks. They say the 22-year-old was last seen Tuesday afternoon with an unknown guy in a dark-colored SUV. Days later, a woman's body was found one county over. People riding four-wheelers during a charity event said the woman didn't have any clothes on and she had something tied around her neck. Sunday, the coroner confirmed it was Sparks. This week is when friends of Desiree Sparks refer to as a nightmare. I was able to talk with her boyfriend some Sunday afternoon, and he said Desiree didn't really have much of a sense of humor, but every time she tried to say something funny, it came out hilarious just because, you know, she tried and it was so cute. He says she was hardworking and just a good influence. He went on to say she changed my perspective and my attitude toward how many great people there are in this world. Kentucky State Police is still looking for answers as to what happened to the 22-year-old. Her cause of death still has not been released. In Richmond, Caitlin Sentner, WKYT.
Sparks' family has created a fundraising page to help cover her funeral expenses. We've put a link there on our website, WKYT.com. Lexington police are still searching for clues in the shooting death of an 18-year-old. It happened just before 2 o'clock Saturday morning. Police say Nathaniel McNeely of Louisville was shot and killed during a large party at a home on Unity Drive. McNeely later died at UK Hospital. His sister says Nathaniel was the one to comfort them in hard times.
He's wiped so many tears from my eyes, tears from my kids' eyes, and tears from my mother's eyes. And I never thought in a million years that I have to wipe my own tears from my eyes because I got to bury my brother, and my mother has to bury her son.
Police say they still do not have a description of a suspect, and they're asking anyone with information to please come forward. Louisville police are investigating after 2 people were shot and killed yesterday afternoon. That happened at a home in the 1800 block of Oregon Avenue. Police believe that shooting was a murder-suicide. The victims were a man and a woman. Neighbors say the pair were dating and have a child together.
When officers arrived, they did find 2 people inside the home, believed to be a man and a woman, both deceased from gunshot wounds. Upon further investigations, found that this appears to be a murder-suicide. Again, we have 2 persons dead. They appear to have been boyfriend, girlfriend. They do have a child in common.
Police said a child was at that home during the time of the shooting, but that child was unharmed. A Clay County man accused of killing his parents will appear in court tomorrow. Police arrested Gregory Jackson in September following a 9-month investigation. Police say Jackson shot his father and stepmother at the couple's Clay County home last December. Investigators say after the shooting, Gregory Jackson removed shell casings and even broke a window to make it look like there'd been a burglary. State police are investigating a crash that killed 1 person in Magoffin County this afternoon. It happened on Kentucky Route 114 in the Syersville community. Police say Ellis Rourke lost control of his truck and hit an embankment. His passenger, 53-year-old Leah Rourke Gross, was killed in that collision. Police say alcohol does not appear to be a factor in that crash. A house was damaged here in Lexington after a car crashed into it early this morning. It happened just after 5 a.m. on Winthrop Drive off Nicholasville Road. The family who was living in that home were not there at the time, and they didn't learn about the crash until a few hours later. Neighbors say 2 boys in their teens were in that car when it hit the house.
They were pretty shaken up. Like the one kid, he was on the verge of crying. You know, I could tell they was young.
Police say no one was actually hurt in that crash. New tonight, crews are working to put out a large fire this evening in Mason County. According to the Maysville Ledger Independent, that fire started around 7:30 tonight at the Standard Supply Warehouse in downtown Maysville. They say both the building and some transformers located above caught fire. There are also several power outages reported in the area of that fire. State police are investigating a fire in Perry County as well. This one happened around 3:30 this morning at a building that holds the post office and a convenience store. It's along Highway 451. State police arson investigators are using video surveillance to see if they can figure out what caused the fire. They don't suspect foul play. No one was hurt. The Lexington Fire Department took over Masterson Station Park for a day of fun and safety. Today was the fire department's annual Fire Prevention Festival. Dozens of people got out to that event. Organizers say this year's goal was to make the festival bigger and better. Rakania Downing said the event was something she wanted her kids to see.
I thought it was just awesome, something that our kids could see and understand what these people are out here actually fighting for and doing for us, because right now the world is a scary place and our kids need to understand that people are out there helping.
That festival had fire truck rides, safety demonstrations, and free health screenings. Coming up on WKYT, the Caribbean is preparing for one of the worst storms in years. And registration has begun for a charity event to honor a fallen Kentucky police officer.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
50s and 60s showing up across most of central and eastern Kentucky here on this Sunday night. Not a bad one out there. We had a few showers earlier today, and all of that wrapping up out there now. Skies are trying their best to clear as well. We'll have more clouds probably try to filter in tomorrow, but all in all, not a bad looking forecast out there even tonight. We are at 61 down the road into Danville, 59 Somerset, also into Monticello, London, and Harlan, all a little pocket there of 59-degree readings that are showing up to our south and east. A little bit of rain earlier, and by earlier I mean within the past 2 hours. We had a shower up here and then die out across parts of Bourbon County, and you can see the rain now gone. Even most of the clouds, as I mentioned, are also starting to disappear as well. Area of low pressure that has been influencing our weather and running the show all week long. is finally leaving us. It's still trying to throw those showers at us tonight, but the bulk of the energy is now gone, and it will continue working its way north and east, and that puts it right out of here and basically means that we're going to be in much better shape. Here's what we've got here on our hour-by-hour forecast. We've got the low continuing to depart and getting right on out here, so we no longer have to think about it. High pressure dries things up for a few days, so we're in pretty good shape. But then we have to start watching off to the west, because the next big player is coming together. It's not going to be this part of the front. Another little disturbance will develop and roll along it and drag the front through, but it's all part of the same system in theory. So it will eventually sweep through, and it changes things up again for us. So it gets a little more active toward the weekend. And our temperatures will also change quite a bit as well. We get into the low 70s tomorrow, right around normal. Now, all eyes are also on the tropics as well, as we're tracking Matthew over the next few days here. We will watch that system continue to get cranked up. And what we're looking at here, these warm colors you're seeing, that's the wind speed. And you're going to see how close, just with the latest projections from the National Hurricane Center, how close it gets with some of the stronger winds, even to the East Coast. That's all the way out to Friday. We'll take you into Saturday as well, and that is going to be a tough little storm wherever it ends up. Something we'll be watching because it could have some impacts on the U.S. In the coming days. So we'll watch and see with that one. 7-day forecast, Sean, looking pretty good around here. Nothing tropical and not even a tropical feel in sight. So that's wonderful. Humidity down, temperatures back mid and upper 70s.
Yeah, for October, you can't beat 5 days in a row like that.
You can't beat what we should be seeing. It's the thing. You're usually down or you're way up, so this is fantastic.
We'll take it. We'll make the most of it. Thank you, Jim. People in the Caribbean are bracing for Hurricane Matthew. Forecasters predict it could make landfall on the southern coast on Monday. The U.S. Weather Service says it's the strongest hurricane in the Atlantic since all the way back in 2007. A hurricane warning is in effect for Jamaica, Cuba, and Haiti. Registration began today for the second annual Officer Daniel Ellis Memorial 5K. Richmond police officer Daniel Ellis died in the line of duty in November of last year. The community helped put together a 5K to raise money for a memorial foundation his wife created. Last year, more than 1,500 people participated in the run walk. Animal lovers gathered in Floyd County this afternoon to host a carnival for local kids. This happened at the First Church of God in Prestonsburg, and it featured games and furry friends for the kids to play with. Activists brought out their rescue pets for the community to interact with. Organizers say the event is to raise awareness of animal abuse and local pet adoption.
There are snakes, there are hairless rats, there are all kinds of animals that have already lived a life of cruelty, that have been abused, and it's over with. We need to show a positive image, and that's what this is.
Organizers say they encourage anyone looking for a pet to visit local animal shelters and humane societies. About 80 people gathered at the Arboretum in Lexington today for the annual Walk to Remember event. UK hospital staff gathered with families who've lost babies to illnesses. Families planted trees and hung bronze plaques in memory of their lost children. This was the 20th year for that Walk to Remember. Still ahead here on WKYT, a new report from the New York Times suggests Donald Trump could have avoided paying federal taxes for well over a decade. We'll have the latest on the race to the White House. Tuesday night's Mega Millions jackpot is $35 million. Wednesday's Powerball jackpot is $80 million. Welcome back. Donald Trump's campaign is pushing back against new allegations that the New York businessman could have avoided federal taxes for 18 years. Errol Barnett reports.
It's a perfectly legal application of the tax code, and he would have been a fool not to take advantage of it. He's a genius. I mean, the reality is absolute genius.
There's no one who's shown more genius in their way to maneuver around the tax code and to rightfully use the laws to do that.
The Trump campaign pushed back on the New York Times report claiming the billionaire businessman may have paid no federal income taxes for almost 2 decades. The paper cites Trump's tax return from 1995, in which he claimed nearly $916 million in losses after several of his businesses went bankrupt. Trump responded by tweeting, "I know our complex tax laws better than anyone who's ever run for president." His campaign released this statement describing Trump as a highly skilled businessman who has a fiduciary responsibility to pay no more tax than legally required. Neither the candidate nor his campaign denied Trump paid no federal income taxes for certain years. Clinton campaign spokesman Robbie Mook.
We talk about the rigged system out there. Donald Trump embodies that.
On Saturday, Trump continued his week-long assault on Clinton.
Here's a woman. She's supposed to fight all of these different things, and she can't make it 15 feet to her car. Give me a break. Give me a break.
Now, Clinton courted the black vote in North Carolina Sunday as her campaign announced it raised $154 million in September, its best fundraising month yet. Trump is in Virginia and Colorado on Monday. Errol Barnett, CBS News, Washington.
If you are planning to vote this November but aren't yet registered, time is running out. The deadline for voter registration here in Kentucky is October 11th. Officials say a data recorder recovered from the train that crashed in Hoboken, New Jersey, was not functioning on the day of the accident. Last week, a train crashed into a track barrier inside Hoboken Station while arriving at the platform. It injured more than 100 people and left one woman dead. A recorder that would have tracked the speed of that train was sent to the manufacturer's facility, which is here in Kentucky, for review. Another recorder at the front of that train is still buried under the rubble from that crash. We have a traffic alert to pass on to you this evening. Part of New Circle Road will be closed tomorrow for storm drain repair. The right lane and turn lane will be closed on the outer loop between Family Circle Drive and Trade Center Drive. Those closures are expected to happen from 8:30 in the morning until about 3:30 tomorrow afternoon. Brian, history made today at the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, for the first time since 2008, the USA wins the Ryder Cup in dominating fashion. And the greatest voice in Major League Baseball history says goodbye. Vin Scully calls it a career. His final play-by-play call is next. The 41st Ryder Cup event brought out emotions in golfers you rarely see. That was evident today, however, when the U.S. entered the singles matches this afternoon, up 9.5 to 6.5 points. And we start on the 8th because the rivalry today between Rory McIlroy and Patrick Reed was beyond intense. McIlroy delivers a 50-foot birdie putt at the 8th hole, and just listen. He was possessed. Now, to have the hole, Reed had to birdie as well. And not only does he sink it, but then there's that finger wag. And the game is on. Former UK star J.B. Holmes had a strong start, then faltered a little bit. He needed this birdie at number 9 to try to win that hole, and he would bury it. But Thomas Peters and Holmes were all square through 9, all even, but Peters would win their head-to-head bout today. Looking to close out McIlroy. Reed sinks another one. Look at the emotion coming from the United States. Winning for the first time since 2008. The United States takes home the Ryder Cup, winning 17-11. Biggest winning margin since 1981.
The environment they were put in today, or this week, brought out some of their best golf that I've ever seen from them, and it's truly a remarkable thing to watch, and it's a fun thing to be a part of. I'm very proud to be a part of this team, and to see the level of accomplishment and performance that these guys had this week was just sensational, and I believe that we made each other proud, but we also hopefully made every American proud.
UK quarterback Steven Johnson has done well since coming in during that New Mexico State game. Against Alabama, Johnson had a decent outing. Johnson started strong, passing, would finish 13 of 22, but for only 89 yards. Johnson did have a couple of costly fumbles, but Alabama has been doing that to teams all year. Mark Stoops did like Johnson's toughness, and UK was again successful using the Wildcat formation.
No, there's no doubt about that. He's a poised kid. He's tough, and he means well, and he'll get better every time he takes the field.
We always talk about adjustments. You decided in that third quarter, and especially in the fourth quarter, to go to that Wildcat formation, a little bit, change things up. It worked for you. You were able to drive a 9-minute drive.
It did. We just had to get the chains moving a little bit, hang your hat on something, and move the football. If you just drop back and pass at that point in time, those guys are hard to protect in predictable pass, and you could go get Steven hurt, and we can't do that right now. So it was good to get some tough yards and some first downs.
This weekend, must-win game for both Vanderbilt and Kentucky, but certainly for the Wildcats. It's a 4 p.m. kickoff from Commonwealth Stadium. You will be able to see it on the SEC network. To the NFL, after starting 3-0 without Tom Brady, who was serving a 4-game suspension because of Deflategate, the Buffalo Bills surprised the Patriots 16-0 in Foxborough. Tyrod Taylor threw for 246 yards on the score. The Bills' defense sacked Patriots quarterback Jacoby Brissett 3 times. Tom Brady will return next week when the Patriots play the Browns in Cleveland. Then on the 16th, the Bengals travel to Gillette Stadium. Vin Scully, the baseball voice of the Los Angeles Dodgers for 67 years. But today, Scully called his final game in San Francisco as the Giants beat the Dodgers 7-1. Here is how Vin's final play-by-play call sounded.
All right, big pitch coming up. Romo out of his stretch, and the 2-2 pitch on the way. Sergio Diaz slider hit in the air to left center. Coming over is Pagan. He puts it away. And the Giants are the wild card team. The city is going wild, appropriately enough, and they are heading for New York.
He called roughly 9,000 baseball games, 25 World Series, and as I mentioned, spent the last 67 years with the Dodgers. Vin Scully's final game, that 7-1 Dodgers loss to the Giants, and then he said goodbye to everyone.
You and I have been friends for a long time, but I know in my heart that I've always needed you more than you've ever needed me. And I'll miss our time together more than I can say. But you know what? There will be a new day and eventually a new year. And when the upcoming winter gives way to spring, rest assured, once again, it will be time for Dodger baseball. So this is Vin Scully wishing you a very pleasant good afternoon wherever you may be.
Thank you very much, Vin Scully, on behalf of all baseball fans. An incredible voice. We will miss him. That's sports. We'll be right back.
One of the best fall forecasts I have ever seen coming up here.
I thought you were going to say I was one of the best guys you knew.
Well, you know that too.
But
one of the best looking meteorologists giving one of the best looking fall forecasts. How's that?
All right, I'm out. Wow, I feel privileged here tonight. You're right. This is a good looking forecast.
I got to flatter you to get good weather like this.
You do. 70s are back. We're well above average toward the end of the week. And then we've got another front. And it arrives for Keeneland, as we've been talking about, with more chance of showers and storms and cooler air. Island.
Man, it is Sunday night. I am so glad to get away from this guy over here. This is great. $5 to get you that forecast.
He doesn't mean it.
Thank you all so much for joining us. Remember, our next newscast is tomorrow at 4:30. And remember, the news is always on at WKYT.com. Have a good night, everybody.